My name is Francis Warner. I was born between the two great wars. I lived through the Blitz and was a friend of Henry Moore and also of Francis Bacon for more than a quarter of a century, very often going between the two of them if they weren't actually talking. That would be Francis's fault, not Henry's. And I'm going to say a few words about what it was like to live through the Blitz. As a boy, it seemed a very long 5 years, and here at the other end of my life it's extraordinary to see these evocative photographs and Henry Moore's sketches recreating so magnificently and so deeply those emotions that my parents, my brothers and I shared night after night. First, to try and give you the feel of London just before a raid. There was blackout. We weren't allowed to show any light. But of course you can't black out the moon. So here with Bill Brandt we have a shot of a street, nobody in it, no light except the reflection on the window panes. We have just a lamppost, very evocative. It's not spooky, it's just a city waiting to be crucified. And here the moonlight has caught the buildings, facade of which will soon be on the ground, smashed to pieces, and the people inside, with any luck, will be in their shelters. So the only light is the moon, and Bill has beautifully caught that here with two shots of the only light that couldn't be extinguished. But of course it was a useful light for the German bombers coming over. The Nazis loved a full moon, and we didn't. And what were they aiming for? Civilians, of course. They were always trying to kill the children. They machine gunned and killed children in schools either side of me, but just missed ours. And the Houses of Parliament, as an emblem of the seat of power of the British Empire. And here it is, a kind of passive waiting for something of which we could do nothing about. The searchlights would pick them out, the ack-ack guns would try and get them, but, as they used to say, the bomber will always get through. So these Bill Brandt pictures are hugely evocative to me of the 5 years I had suffering with these, and indeed still have all the scars. Now I want to show you the morning after the Blitz, because Henry went through all this too. He was down in the shelters, he was bombed out, but he wonderfully caught in two pictures that you'll see now what it felt like the morning after the Blitz when you found you were still alive, but some of those you knew had been killed. Here, I think a very great interpretation of our experience, Mr. Moore's and my experiences of night after night waking up. We must remember all the firemen that died. So many were killed, rescuing people like myself, and they're very often killed because the wall fell on them. And here is a wall actually in the process of falling. And I think it's the more moving in that you can't really see human beings being killed. You have to imagine how dangerous that was. And here is a version of the kind of chaos that was left after a heavy bombing raid. You may think it strange to have the three fates in. This is one of the great watercolours on paper. There is one, Clotho, who spins the thread of each person's life. There is another, Lachesis, who measures it. And there is a third, Atropos, who severs it. Well, Atropos at the end has kept her hands on her lap. She's not giving away when she's going to cut the thread of your life. Now you say, what's that got to do with the war? Well, I'm going to show you. And here is the human counterpoint to the three fates. Here you have four figures. But first look at the setting. It's very clear to me, I recognize it only too well. It's a converted building of concrete made as an air raid shelter. You will see the glass has gone from the windows and it's been concreted up to make it bomb-proof. This is the morning after the Blitz. And here we have the three fates, and this is the point. Behind this blood-stained concrete screen, hidden, is Atropos, who will sever the thread of your and my life at some point. And here is you or me coming up from the shelter at the end of a bombing raid. It's a very strange and wonderful way of evoking that terrible feeling when you come up and want to know what happened the night before. Who is still alive? Who is dead? Is my home flattened or not? And that's his way of transposing the Greek myth into London in 1941.